Alrighty, sorry everyone, no hobos and dogs today. No hobos and dogs. Had to end the pre-stream there to get started with the real stream. What's going on, my friends? Hello and welcome to the stream. I'm DSP and I welcome you to a fun full day of streaming. And today we're doing things a little bit differently. Alright, purposely we're doing things differently today. What does that mean? Well, it means today, my main gameplay stream is something that normally I wouldn't do as a main gameplay stream. And in fact, this is a game that I've been playing as a night stream for quite some time. And I'm curious, quite frankly, to see how it goes today. This is something that people have been asking me for about a week straight. Both publicly, like on Twitter, and also some people have come into the stream chat. And some people even emailed me. And what they said was as follows. They liked my playthrough of Immortals Fenyx Rising. They think the game is interesting. It's very Breath of the Wild-esque. And they like that style of game because it lends itself to be a lot more chill, meaning there's a lot more time for like interaction and stuff and discussion because it's a lot of open world exploration. So that's all well and good, but since I'm playing it only on night streams, there's a large group of my viewers who can only attend the daytime streams because of time zone constraints. I understand that. If you live across the pond, as they say, for example, chances are my night streams are in the middle of the night for you, and you can't watch them. All right? I mean, that's why I have two streams. The first stream is more for an international audience, where more people can tune in, and then the later stream is more of a domestic audience here in the United States, and it gives in a little bit of extra gameplay, but that's also why I do more chill games kind of during that late stream, okay? So, because I've gotten so many requests for this, I said, let's give it a shot this week. Let's flip the stream, especially because I defeated the story of Yakuza 7 on Monday, and we had a one main game that was out of the mainstream rotation. I said, hey, I have the flexibility this week to rotate stuff around and see how it goes, all right? So today is very much an experiment, all right? It is. It's an experiment. I'm curious to see how things are going to go on this stream. Will people who actually requested this on the first stream and said that they would come support it actually show up, hang out, interact, and support the stream? That's a question, right? You never know. It could be a vocal minority. It could be a very small group of people who want to see it, and then I end up not getting too much attention on it. I don't know. Because the thing is, I wouldn't be against playing this as a mainstream from time to time. I wouldn't. But we got to see how it does. Okay? We'll find out what happens today. Now, here's the thing. In Immortals Fenyx Rising, we're currently in the second area of the game. This is the Ares God of War area. And it's pretty interesting. It's more like a bunch of cliffs and like an arid climate. The first area was very lush with vegetation. This area is not. The puzzles so far have been pretty interesting. The enemies are definitely tougher in this area than they were in the first area, which leads me to believe maybe I wasn't supposed to do this area next. Maybe I was supposed to do another area. I'm not sure because the enemies are kind of challenging. But anyway, we're making progress so far in this area. I took out the cave where Heracles was corrupted, so he'll stop hunting me in this area so we can more openly explore and not get hounded by Heracles' clones coming after me or whatever. And in addition to that, we've solved a lot of puzzles and done a few things, alright? Today, since it is a 3+ hour gameplay stream, I will try to do a balance of content. We do have the story mission unlocked to progress the story in the Ares area, so we could do that whenever we want. But I'd also like to maybe do some open world exploration as well. Like I said, this game really lends itself to allowing me to interact with you guys because it's open world. While I'm exploring the open world and doing puzzles and stuff, we can have fun conversation about various things. So I hope you guys are ready for an interactive stream today. It's going to be, interesting to say the least. And let's see how it goes today, okay? If today's stream goes well, which factors in a few things. How many people show up? How many people interact and are engaged with me, making it an entertaining stream? And yes, quite frankly, the third factor, which everyone loves to talk about, is contributions on the stream. Okay, just being honest. If these things all kind of pan out to average really, really decently, then I would consider doing this again as a mainstream. I'm not saying that it's going to be a mainstream all the time. I'm not saying this is going to be played 2-3 times a week as a mainstream. By no means am I saying that. I'm saying maybe every once in a while, for variety's sake, we'll toss this game in as an early stream if there's enough support for it, okay? So if you're in the mood for hanging out and having a good time and just chilling with me today with a game that is pretty different from other things I've been playing, I hope you'll stick around for today's Immortal stream, all right? Later tonight, it's my weekly throwback Street Fighter session, folks. And as you can see, I'm geared up. I'm ready for my weekly Street Fighter session. I love playing Street Fighter once a week, as laggy as it can get in that collection. It's the only access that I get to the classic Street Fighter games that I grew up and I love. So I'm very excited for that later tonight, and I hope you will join me around 6:45 p.m. Pacific time for some fun throwback Street Fighter stuff. Okay? Good stuff later tonight. Sorry that, yes, I am snorting a little bit here. My post-nasal drip is bothering me this morning. And nothing I can do about it. I'm sure it'll clear. Usually it clears up during the course of the stream. I hope it does. It's annoying me, but what can you do? Alright. Tomorrow, everyone. Saturday. It's the return of Hitman 3 as a main gameplay stream. And we're going to be heading into the... Well, we're finishing up the 4th stage. And then we'll be heading into the 5th. Apparently the game has 6 levels, okay? So, we'll be heading into the last third of the game. The levels are quite long and challenging. Each level has taken me roughly 2 to 3 hours to beat. I don't foresee it changing, so likely there's still going to be 2 to 3 more streams of Hitman before we wrap it up. And I hope you've been liking the playthrough. I certainly have been liking it. Alright, that's tomorrow's main stream. Tomorrow night, finally, tomorrow night, my year-end series begin with the most disappointing games of 2020 countdown. In fact, later tonight, between my streams and then after my late stream, I'm going to be sitting down and doing some work, putting together the videos and ranking the most disappointing games of 2020. My personal picks for that event, okay? The way it's going to work is on Saturday night, it's going to be a live stream, all right? It's going to be me counting down the worst games and telling you a little bit about them, essentially doing mini reviews of each of these games that I feel were super disappointing last year, telling you why, and basically ranking them, all right? Holy shit, last year there were some disappointments. Let's just put it that way. Okay? Holy crap. So, that's going to be exciting, all right? Now, if we finish that early, then I'll probably switch over and do something quickly, maybe some Call of Duty multiplayer, or maybe Yakuza 7 post-game. We'll see, you know, what time allows for. It depends on how quickly I finish that up. Chances are, it looks like, oh, I'll finish it in an hour. It'll take the whole 2 hours. That's usually what happens, is I always think things are going to go quickly, and then they go way more lengthy than I think they're going to. All right. Then on Sunday, the main gameplay stream on Sunday, again, much like today, is going to be something pretty different. I'm actually going to be playing Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War as a main gameplay stream. I'm still using the Krieg 6, or the Krieg 6, I think it's Krieg 6, but also now I'm using the knife, which I did not use the entire time I've been playing the game so far. And I just started using it, and I got a lot of kills with it. So I'm going to start using the knife now and see how that goes in certain stages. Should be interesting. And it's 3+ hours during the daytime, which I have not done since the launch of the game in early November, okay? Again, I'm trying to cater to a different audience. People have told me that they're happy that I'm still playing a first-person shooter like this consistently because I haven't done it in years and years. But at the same time, people are disappointed because I'm only playing it at night. And there's an audience of people that cannot show up at night. And they're sad that they can't attend the live streams and support them. So I'm doing it as the daytime stream on Sunday. I certainly hope you will join me for that. And again, support it if you like it. And if it is something that you guys like, I'll consider maybe doing it more regularly. However, I'll be honest with you guys, all right? I have noticed that the attitude towards the Call of Duty streams has begun to change a little bit recently. And I even said this the last time I played it. I said, if when I'm playing Call of Duty, people are kind of just complaining all the time, and basically support is low, and everyone's basically saying, oh my god, more of this, then instead of playing it 2-3 times a week like I've been doing, I may reduce it down to only once a week. Similar to Street Fighter. You know, Street Fighter, I always play Friday nights. Maybe I would make it so, I don't know, Saturday nights are always Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty, you know, Street Fighter Friday, Call of Duty Saturdays, and stuff, or something like that. Okay? I wouldn't be against doing that. I do like the game enough that I want to keep playing it, but I'm thinking maybe reducing the amount that I play it may make more sense if I continue to see this trend with the amount of support on the streams. And the thing is, there's tons of other stuff for me to do. There's lots of stuff I could be doing on night streams. I don't have to be doing this much Call of Duty. All right? But I guess we're going to have to see. Let's see what happens, all right, on Sunday. And we'll go from there. Sunday night is going to be Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Yes, it's actually going back to being a night stream for this week because I want to play more of it to keep the story moving. But at the same time, I'm switching up all these daytime streams, so I need to make time for it. It's going to be Sunday night. And then on Monday, another main stream of Hitman, which means, yes, even more progress. Maybe we'll even beat the 5th stage and get into the end. We'll see. We're not going to beat it, that's for sure, but maybe we'll get close, see the final stage. And then Monday night, it's going to be the best games of 2020 countdown, where I run through all the best games of 2020. And that should be a good time as well. And that way my year-end series will finally be done in the bag after being delayed for the greater part of a month because of insanely lengthy playthroughs. All right? All right. Now, yesterday I got asked a very good question by Eternal Napalm. He said, Phil, are you still going to do the best and worst of last console generation, which you said was a good idea you wanted to do? I'm still interested in doing it. I just can't do it right now because I've been basically tasked with working on my taxes, which sucks. I fucking hate doing it, but I have to do it every year. And supposedly I'm supposed to be doing this within the first half of September, the first half of February, which sucks because I don't have a lot of time right now. Like right now behind the scenes, I'll be working on the year-end series and everything. So like literally the first week of February, I'm going to have to work my ass off behind the scenes to get all my tax shit together. And while I'm doing that, I have no time to do anything else. I would certainly won't have time to work on extra series or anything like that. I would definitely like to do it, but I can't promise that I'll do it. All right? Maybe if it does happen, it may happen in the second half of February, but let's play it by ear and see what happens, okay? In addition, the retrospective event, which I was hoping was going to happen in very early February, likely will. I'm kind of aiming for next weekend, I'm thinking. It could either be maybe Saturday or Sunday of next week. Might make sense to do it. And by the way, the retrospective nominations are still open, and the more nominations I get, the better. I had a comment yesterday on stream, and I want to address it again here, for just in case you weren't here yesterday. Someone said, Phil, I don't know how good this retrospective event's going to be when all the nominations are from the same 3 people. If you go to the forums, you'll see it's like 3 people nominated a ton of stuff, and not many other people. All right, fair enough, but here's the thing. This is the way that these interactive events work. You guys, over the years that I've been a full-time live streamer, have told me you want more input. You want to have interactive events. You want to feel like your voice matters. And so I've set up interactive events like the viewer's choice, like the retrospective event, so that directly you guys can give your input. In the case of the retrospective event, all right, it's your nominations that turn into the stuff that we watch during that event. It's your favorite moments from my over 12 years of content creation. And you go to my forums, you nominate them, I sift through that stuff, and then we go through them on the retrospective stream, and that's how it goes. All right? If people don't nominate stuff, right, there's not much I can do about it. Essentially, if people aren't nominating stuff, what you're telling me is maybe you just don't want to see the retrospective event anymore, which is okay if that's the case. If you guys think we've done it too often, I mean, the last one we did was last summer, so you're talking it's been, what, like 8 months since we did one? But if you're telling me essentially, oh, I don't want to see it anymore, fine, but the thing is, the success of the event is directly a result of your input. You know what I mean? So by all means, if you want to see a good retrospective event, please go nominate stuff on the forums, all right? But understand that I understand the criticism, oh, it's the same 3 people, but those are the people who have stepped up and said, listen, we really like Phil's stuff, and I want to support it, and I want to see this event be successful, so let me actually go out of my way and nominate stuff. You know what I mean? Like, those are the nice people doing that. So I'm not going to sit here and complain. I'm going to say thank you very much to the people who have done that over there. I really appreciate that. Okay? Now, a couple other things. There is another Viewer's Choice event that's going to happen. However, as I've told you guys, I don't want to really do anything with it until the retrospective happens, so then we can focus on the Viewer's Choice. All right? So that being said, there will be a Viewer's Choice event. Absolutely there will be a Viewer's Choice event. And it's going to happen probably within a week or 2. I'm going to open up the nominations, and then you guys are going to vote. But more information on that as we get closer to it. Once the retrospective event is set in stone with a date and everything, then I would talk more about that. Now, as for the current Viewer's Choice event coming up, which is Divinity Original Sin 2, yes, that is absolutely happening in the month of February. No exceptions. I am starting the playthrough in February with no excuses and no exceptions. It is happening starting this coming month. All right? So for those who've been waiting for it forever, finally I'm wrapping up the 2020 games, and there's not much going on in February for new releases besides Mario. So yes, it is happening in February. Okay? Fair enough? Okay. I hope so. I hope that sounds good. Okay. All right. Outside of all that, I don't think I have much else to talk about my streams. All right. Before we get to gaming news and stuff like that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to appeal to you once again, ladies and gentlemen. I am appealing to you for support. I sound like Bernie Sanders now. Here's the deal. All right. Two things are going on right now. First of all, this last week, I had to empty my bank account to pay taxes. All right. This is actually my quarterly taxes were due for the state. I had to pay my federal taxes and some extra bills on top of that pop up usually very early in the year popped up. And I was completely drained of my finances, like completely sapped. All right. So that's happening. And at the very same time that's happening, recently, the tips on the streams have been pretty low compared to usual. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, and I'm certainly not saying your support isn't appreciated, nor that it's non-existent. That's completely bullshit. I would be an asshole, lying idiot to say that. All right? You guys have been very supportive. In fact, I've noticed recently cheers have been much higher than they are usually. I don't know why, and I appreciate that. Again, all support, cheering, subbing, tipping, all helps me here on the streams. But in particular, in the last week, there was like 4, 5, 6 streams where I didn't hit the tips goal. I did happen to hit the tips goal yesterday on the early stream, which was great. And then on the late stream, I made $20. So you see the difference here is like, it's basically like, sometimes things are going well and then other times they're going really bad. And it's kind of like evening out. And sadly, it's like, it's at a time. This is happening at a time when I just got financially strapped, which sucks. You know, if this were 2 months ago, yeah, last month even, it would have been fine. But now here's what's happening. In January, ad revenue on YouTube plummets, okay? It goes way down, and it goes down for about 2 months, and then around March, April, when new games start to come out, ad revenue comes up again. Now, ad revenue on YouTube is not a humongous part of my income, but it is still a consistent part of my income. And even seeing a dip in that affects things. So now we've got a combination, all right? A combination of the fact that, number one, I just had a bunch of financial shit come up that I had to drain my account. I'm pretty much strapped for cash right now. Number two, tips have been lower recently for whatever reason, and I don't know why. And now number three, my YouTube ad revenue is going to be low. So it's kind of like everything at once, all right? So the reason I'm bringing this up is very simple. If you are going to support the streams today, especially if you were saying, oh, I wanted to come out and support Immortal Phoenix Rising, please tip me. And, you know, the sooner the better. Because that way we won't have people sitting on the stream. Because now I've said this. You know what happens when I say stuff like this? Oh my God, Phil. Oh, he's not hitting the tips goal. Where's the vest? And blah, blah. And I don't want this whole stream to be that. Especially because of the type of game that this is. This is a game that lends itself to open world exploration and a lot of interaction. I don't want every 5 minutes someone bringing up, oh, you didn't hit the tips goal, the tips goal. All right? So I want people to relax and have a good time. The bottom line is if people are watching the stream, they're enjoying the stream, they're having a good time, they're probably going to contribute. I don't need to harp on it every 5 minutes, and I'm not going to harp on it every 5 minutes. Maybe once an hour I'll give everyone an update or whatever, okay? But I absolutely would appreciate tips today. They would help a lot. If we could hit the tips goal today, like I said, the sooner the better, would help a lot right now, okay? And of course, that goes for the coming week, you know. Basically, I'm kind of strapped until I get paid by Twitch in the middle of February. And there's nothing I could do about it. It sucks. I'm kind of in a position where things are super tight right now, and I can't control it. You know, it is what it is. So hopefully things go well on the streams and everything between now and then. But I would appreciate your support if you could. All right? So all that being said, cheering, subbing, tipping, all appreciated. Keep in mind that contributions are not mandatory on my streams, nor are they expected. I consider it going above and beyond being a standard stream viewer if you do contribute to my streams. I'm an independent guy. What that means is that I don't collaborate with anyone. I don't have a streaming contract with any company to stream exclusively somewhere and make big bucks like a lot of the full-time streamers out there have. I don't have any sponsorships with anyone to make money streaming. I don't shill anything or advertise for anyone. Everything you hear on my streams is 100% me. And I pride myself on that. I feel, and you guys have told me this over the years, this is why I have longevity. This is why I'm still pertinent and why I still have an audience, is because I'm very different than a lot of the other content creators have become out there, basically paid advertisements. I never played that game. I never went for those kind of deals. And instead, I just stayed myself over the years. And even though Financially, I'm nowhere as well off as all those people who've been around the bush just like me. At least I'm still here and I'm able to have a good time with you guys and be honest with you every day, and I love doing that. All right, I love my job. I absolutely do. So, please consider contributing if you like the content and if you like the fact that I am a true independent. All right. Now, a couple tips. Number one, if you are going to be a stream regular and you are considering contributing today, please disassociate your online persona here on Twitch from anything else that could associate with you in real life or your social media accounts. It always makes sense to make a different account here on Twitch that is completely separate from anything else someone can figure out who you are from. You don't want people coming to harass you off of the stream just because you're on the stream. And I also recommend very strongly you turn off your direct messages here on Twitch, although it's not a guarantee. A lot of people do get harassed on Twitch if they have open direct messages. So I'm going to strongly recommend to you that you set it so that only friends can direct message you here on Twitch, which is how I have it, or you just turn them completely off. It just makes sense. You don't want to get harassed simply for watching a streamer, okay? Now, as I mentioned, right now I need a lot of help with tips, okay? If you are going to tip me today, I will strongly urge you to create a verified PayPal account. Why? A verified PayPal account puts in added protections both for you and me. Essentially, it protects me from fraud. If someone has a verified PayPal account, which links all their real info, it means that if they tried to lie to PayPal and commit fraud against me, they'd be legally liable for it. You see what I mean? And in the last 4 months, I've had so many fake tips against me by a criminal who sat there buying stolen credit cards off the internet and sending fake tips, but he did it anonymously. And because of that, he wasn't responsible for anything. So he gets away with it, you see? So I've had to basically turn off the ability or basically reject any unverified tips that I get because there's a liability there to myself personally and to my business. You know, my PayPal account has not only been hit with, I'm not even exaggerating, hundreds of chargebacks totaling thousands of dollars. There were some days in the fall that it looked like I was doing really well on a stream and made a lot of money. I made nothing. I actually lost money several days during the fall with this issue. Okay? Shitty. So now I've got these protections in place and I cannot accept unverified tips. All right? It's also good protection for you if you're going to continue to use your PayPal account for other stuff. It's going to give you some added protections as well. So it makes sense for you to do so. So how do you verify your PayPal account? Add in your personal info like your name, your address, your bank account information, maybe your ID information. To my knowledge, there's a couple different ways you can do it. And don't worry, no, PayPal is not going to dox you and give out your information if you give them this information. If they did, you could sue them for millions of dollars, all right? Because they doxed you and you got into trouble because of it. That would be a big legal liability for them. They're not going to do that. However, I will say this. Be careful with information you put into your PayPal, and once you do create the account, I recommend that you link it to your Twitch. If you do that, what ends up happening is it'll use your Twitch name instead of your real name. The other day we had someone over here who tipped me, and I read out their name and give him a thank you shout out. And he's like, oh, wow, you read my full name. I was like, well, that's what it said on the tip. And he didn't realize that when you created a PayPal account, it'll give your full name unless you link it to something else to change the login name, you see? So be careful about that. I'm not going to, I don't want to read out your full name. In fact, what I'm probably going to start doing is just reading out first names anyway, unless I see that it's coming in from a name that's like a Twitch login or something like that. But just be careful about it, okay? All right, so I thank you in advance. Again, guys, one final time. Please, today, if you could tip me, if you're going to support the Phoenix Rising stream, and if you want to help me out a lot, please tip me today. The sooner the better. It would help tremendously if you could tip me. All right, thank you very much in advance. All right, let's move on. I have 2 new stories to talk about today. First of all, Platinum Games. Many people might know who Platinum Games is, the company that has made many games over the years, including the Bayonetta series, Vanquish, among other things. I'm trying to remember what their most recent one was. It was good, but I can't remember. I remember it was something different, and it's eluding me right now. What was Platinum Games' most recent game? Do you guys remember? Did I play it? I can't remember what I played. That's what it was. It was Astral Chain. Thank you, Knows Nobody, because I didn't play Astral Chain. Astral Chain was a game from 2019, so like late summer, early fall 2019. I didn't play it, but a lot of people played it and liked the game a lot, and a lot of people over the months were asking me to play it. I never got around to it. But anyway, the reason that they're in the news is because the 2 heads of the studio were interviewed, and it was a hilarious interview because the guys are like, oh my God, they're like, guys, please stop asking us about Bayonetta. They're like, listen, we're working on a lot of stuff right now. In fact, the next game we think you guys are really going to like, it's going to be a more smaller scale game, maybe even feel more like an indie game than anything else, but we really think you guys are going to like what we've got up our sleeve for you. And, you know, we'll have more news about that soon. But they basically said, please stop asking about Bayonetta. They're like, everyone constantly is asking us about Bayonetta 3, and we're working on it. But when we're ready to have an update, we'll tell you. Basically, like, constantly hounding us about this is not going to have us give you more information more quickly. You know, it's kind of, I guess basically, they're just annoyed. You know, they're working on other games too, and it's like all anyone wants to talk about is Bayonetta, and they're frustrated. I can understand that. That happens to me too as a content creator. Sometimes I get hounded about one particular thing rather than being allowed to do a variety of stuff that I like. So, being a creative person, yeah, right. I totally understand where they're coming from. So, the good news is, we got an update. They are still working on it. But they have no real update to give us yet, so just chill. And I'm okay with that. So, by the way, reminder that the Bayonetta series is basically a Nintendo property, and this next Bayonetta would be on the Switch. And if you remember, the last Bayonetta 2 was on Wii U, and even though it was, I said it was a decent game, I didn't really like it as much as the first Bayonetta. I thought the first Bayonetta, it felt like something more refreshing, while Bayonetta 2 just kind of felt like more of the same. Didn't feel as good, in my opinion. But Bayonetta 3, you know, will be on the Switch, so probably will sell a ton. It seems like all these kind of exclusive games on the Switch are selling, like, ridiculously, while the Wii U didn't, because the Wii U didn't sell as well as the console. Okay? Ooh. Okay, I have another news story. This next news story is in regards to virtual reality. We haven't heard much about virtual reality in a while. You know, since the launch of things like the HTC Vive, the Oculus Rift, and the PlayStation VR. There have been a few games every once in a while, like, what was the one? Half-Life Alyx or whatever was basically the game that everyone says is the killer app for VR. It's the best VR game ever made. But outside of that, you don't hear about VR that much. So a patent was filed. And the patent is kind of interesting. Listen to this. So, VR, but while you're in VR, you could have a viewing audience, i.e. via live streaming, that screws with you. Like, there's an interactive component to it, where people can actually manipulate the environment and do stuff in the VR game based on them watching you live and basically kind of messing with you. Okay? Now, I can see this... Being that I'm an interactive live streamer, I can definitely see this going some different ways. I can see this going completely horribly and seeing a ton of trolling and seeing a ton of horrible things. At the same time, depending on the game design, right? It could be that maybe certain games don't allow a certain level of trolling, but instead just have some distinct choices that you can make. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out because the patent is very broadly worded. It doesn't necessarily say, oh, it's going to be this kind of game or whatever. So I will compare this to many years ago when I was playing, what the hell was the name of that game? Choice Chamber. That's right. So way back when, what was that, like 2017, 2018? A long time ago, many years ago. You know, like 40, 50 years ago. I was playing a game on Twitch because Twitch wanted me to check out their new interactive stuff. Okay? That Twitch had just instituted, what do they call them? I don't even remember what they call them anymore because I haven't used them in so way. It's like a plugin where you guys, as you're watching a stream, things pop up on your screen, and you could click on it to interact with my stream directly. Okay? And in Choice Chamber, I was actually partnered with Twitch on this because they wanted to promote this new technology. Basically, you guys were able to mess with me when I was playing this game. You were able to determine what weapon I would use. You were able to determine the enemies that I would fight. Kind of stuff like that. And I think at one point, like, you nerfed the jump and stuff that I was doing. That made it much tougher. So, the first time I played this, it was interesting because people were messing around with it and trying to figure out how it worked. But then the second time that I played it, which was the last time I did it, it became 100% trolling. Like, people figured out, oh, this is the worst weapon. That's the weapon we got to give Phil. Oh, this is the power-up that really screws him over because he can't jump or whatever. Give him that one. So essentially the game became insanely difficult because people just constantly trolled with the choices that they made, and it basically made the game impossible to progress in. And I played it for about, I think it was like an hour or 2 hours. I had this time slot where I was doing this. And after that, I basically never used the technology again. Like, I'm sure there's games out there that use it, but nothing mainstream. Like, not a single mainstream game has used this interactive technology on Twitch at all. Apparently, game developers just don't feel that it's worth their time to try to plug in that kind of interactivity to a Twitch stream. I don't know why. At the time, I remember thinking, this could be interesting and revolutionary. Imagine if I'm playing Call of Duty, and while I'm playing it, there's all this interactive stuff on the screen you guys could do to see my stats. Like, everyone always asks, what's your kill death ratio? How you doing? Imagine if it was all on your screens while you were watching the stream. At any time you could click and see that data, right? Or imagine if I'm in an actual games and there's ways that you can interact with the game. A Mario game where you can actually toss me power-ups and stuff. Like, I was like, dude, this is like huge potential. And then guess what happened? Nothing. These Twitch extensions really don't do much. For what I'm to understand, most of them are pretty inefficient at doing anything. And the ones that do work, sometimes they crash a lot. And then, on top of that, yeah, a lot of them are very abusive, where it just basically hinders the gameplay. You know, you would think, oh, it's supposed to be an interactive, fun gameplay experience. It ends up just being kind of abusive and annoying. So you can't even progress in the game or whatever, which is like, oh, well, it's counterproductive then, isn't it? So all that being said, I'm intrigued by how these VR, developers are thinking they're going to do anything different from what's already been done. Like, what kind of games are they going to try to pump out for VR technology that would need an interactive medium? VR itself is very different from normal gaming. It's all in first person, and it makes you feel like you're there, all right? But for me, the gimmick wore out to about a month and a half of me having the PSVR, where the gimmick kind of wore out. I just didn't really care about it anymore. And just to be completely honest with all of you, it made me sick to my stomach with certain games. The headset constantly made my neck feel sore, and also the sweat, wearing that on your head builds up moisture, and you end up getting sweat and nasty stuff, and it's just not very comfortable. Now, that's all, of course, has to do with the design of the headset and not necessarily the games, you see? But if there could be some unique VR games where you guys can interact and make a unique experience, that would be pretty cool. Because people always said, Phil, are you ever going to play PSVR again? To which I always answer, there's no reason to. There's like nothing worth playing. But if they actually made games that had interactivity like that, where my stream viewers could directly interact with me during the game, then maybe I would consider it. Depending on the type of game, and if it was not just all trolling activities, but it was actually allowing people to maybe like help me or have some. Oh, imagine if you're in a game and it's a puzzle game, it's a first-person puzzle game, you're stuck in a maze, but people are able to send you hints or give you little clues interacting with you in the game. That would be really sweet, right? I think that would be amazing. So this news intrigues me, but at the same time, it's very early news. It's just a patent that was filed. Nothing's even made yet. So let's see what happens. All right, moving forward. Okay, the last news story I have for you, and then we're going to get to shout-outs, is about, yes, all that crazy trading going on Wall Street this week with GameStop stocks as well as other stocks, where people on a Reddit forum basically wanted to overinflate the value of certain companies that basically don't really have that value in them, like GameStop, a company that for the last few years has done absolutely horribly. No one's buying physical games at GameStop anymore because everything's digital, especially with the pandemic. But they blew up the price of the stock and made millions upon millions of dollars doing it. Yesterday, we talked about how the big guys in charge of money decided they didn't like that. Oh my God, the little guy is taking money from the big guy? Oh, fuck that. So they shut down trading of these stocks for the common person. They still allowed people who own the giant hedge funds, i.e. multimillionaires and billionaires, to trade these stocks, but they would not allow the common person to continue to trade them. It was fucked up. They shut this down. And by the way, this wasn't just one business. It was the Robinhood app, the Webull app. It was every major trading app basically said, if you're a common user, you can't trade these anymore. You could sell, but you cannot buy, meaning they couldn't drive the price up of these stocks anymore. But if you're a major guy, you can still do it. If you're a big wig, a big rich dude. Okay? It's fucked up. And it's blatant prejudice. Should be illegal. It's unclear if it is illegal or not what happened. So yesterday, the reason I'm bringing this up is because yesterday, the co-founder of Robinhood, this is one of the apps that, just the name of it, Robinhood. The premise of Robinhood, when it was created in 2016, was that this company was supposed to open up trading to the masses in a big way. Minimal fees, I think that they actually were allowing you to trade like half stocks and stuff, some crazy stuff. That was basically revolutionary. What they wanted to do is they wanted to make it so the common person can afford to trade in the stock market. There was no longer a giant barrier or hurdle for the common person to be able to do investing. Okay? Robinhood. Anyone know who the character is? The character of Robinhood, the classic story of the person who saw that the government was corrupt in England. He became basically a vigilante. He got a band of people he called the Merry Men, who really, I guess today you would consider them terrorists, but back then they were considered rebels against the government. And they would go around basically, shutting down the police forces, military forces, the sheriff of Nottingham from being able to do what they do, collecting taxes from the people which were deemed unfair. So essentially Robinhood robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. He would steal from the rich who were overtaxing everyone and give the wealth back to the people who were being robbed by the wealthy. That's the name of the company. All right? Robinhood. The premise is more money for the poor, not for the rich. But Robinhood shuts down trades on GameStop, and I think it was like 13 other different stocks that were all in the same situation, where people were trying to overvalue them in order to make money and basically screw over the big hedge fund guys who were rich. Well, people didn't like that. And I'm not just talking the normal person who was trading. I'm talking people from all around the world didn't like this. People from different walks of life who hate each other. For example, senators on both sides of the aisle in the United States, from Republicans and Democrats, came out and publicly decried this is messed up and should not be happening. Elon Musk, the most rich man in the world, came out against it and said, this is ridiculous. I'm filthy rich and I think this is fucked up. This should not be happening. Pretty crazy that pretty much almost everyone except the upper echelon class came out against this and said, what is going on? Why would the trades be shut down? This shouldn't happen. Okay? So all this being said, the co-owner, all right, of Robinhood, his name's Vlad, what a name, was interviewed by several different news outlets. And I saw some of the interviews yesterday. They were pretty interesting. But the best one was the one done by, I want to say it was CNBC, Chris Cuomo. He's the brother of New York, is he Governor Cuomo? He is, right? Governor Cuomo of New York. So he's his brother, and he's a newscaster on this channel. He completely fucking eviscerated him. In 9 minutes, he made this guy who's a co-founder of a company that's a major investment deal thing, he made him look like a child. I don't know if I've ever quite seen an interview like this before, where someone was so basically outplayed, because essentially this guy, Vlad, is on the show and he's saying, well, the reason that we had to shut down the app is because there's all these different trading requirements. There's certain deposits that need to be made, and there's other things that have to happen with SEC regulations, and we have to abide by them, and we just couldn't do it with the rate of trades that were happening, so we had to freeze the trades. And Chris Cuomo's like, Vlad, he goes, I used to deal with investments all the time. I know what you're talking about. So my common viewer is not going to understand what you're saying, because I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want basically the normal person to understand what you're saying. He's like, so here's the deal. I'm going to break it down for you because you're the major CEO of this company and you're going to need help. He goes, here's the deal. Right now, everyone thinks you're basically a scumbag. He didn't call him a scumbag on TV, but essentially that's what he said. He's like, everyone thinks that you're basically doing dirty stuff. We know that a major investor in your firm, Robinhood, is a hedge fund company. We know that they lost millions of dollars because these unlikely stocks were growing in value. And we know that it's likely they put pressure on you, whether you say they did or not, because you're saying they didn't. It's basically like a situation where we kind of it looks really bad for you. It looks like big boy who finances your company called you and said, hey, I'm losing money, shut it down. All right? And regardless of what you say, that you say it's not true, you've provided zero evidence to the contrary. He goes, number one, you say you had to shut down the trades because you didn't have enough money for deposits or whatever. He says, but earlier today on other stations, you said it wasn't a liquidity issue. You said it wasn't because you didn't have enough money. So you've already denied that, even though now you're repeating it tonight. You've already denied that that's the reason. And he says, as for the SEC for those who don't know, that's the Securities and Exchange Commission. That is the governing body for Wall Street. Basically, make sure that people don't do underhanded things. He says the SEC has not stepped up and said that they've detected any illegal activities in any of this trading with the GameStop stock or any of these other stocks. If they did, that would have been one thing. The SEC would have said, okay, freeze the trades. They didn't do that. You personally did. You and your company did. The SEC didn't contact you and tell you to do that. You just did it. He's like, so basically, everything you're telling me is bullshit. He's like, you know, you're 9 minutes here. You said the same things and went in a circle. You didn't give any new information. And he basically says, I'm going to give you some free advice. If you want to stay in business, you have to have an actual professional come out in the next couple days and explain why you did what you did and actually give concrete backing up of why you did it. Because if not, you look like a villain and you're basically screwed. He didn't say, I'm paraphrasing, but if you want to see an interview of a guy who got completely destroyed, looks incredibly uncomfortable, like he's about to crap his pants, that's the interview you want to watch. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, it was pretty entertaining. All right. So hopefully this thing will be resolved. Obviously, I don't have money in it, but it's the hot topic. Everyone's fucking talking about this recently. This craziness going on. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let us get to shout outs. Now, just again, since this is, you know, a lengthy pre-stream, I will say this again. Guys, today, I really need your help with tips, and basically for the next week or two, I'm really going to need your support with tips because I am completely strapped for cash. If you support my streams and you like them and you want to, you know, support in a good way, please tip me, all right? Even though I see a lot of cheers came in already. I appreciate that, but I really need help with tips right now, okay? All right, let's do shout outs. Golden Colts cheered overnight, said they revoked my Costco membership for buying too many beef hot dogs. Why are sometimes a food establishment ripped you off? I mean, I've never been majorly ripped off by a food establishment. Essentially, number one, if you go to a fast food place, you never really know if you're getting the right thing, especially today in the pandemic times. A lot of these places tape your bag to say it's for safety, and then you come home and your fucking food's wrong. What's really annoying right now is because of the pandemic, when you order out for food and it gets delivered by one of these delivery services, if the order is wrong, you have no recourse. You've already paid the restaurant. They're not going to correct your order. It's too late for that. The food's there. This has happened. I'm not even kidding. This happens about, I say 30 to 40% of the time when Kat and I order out for food, the order's wrong. Just this last week, I ordered something for Kat and it wasn't right. I'm like, it pisses me off. I'm trying to, you know, I want my wife to have a nice meal. I want to get what we actually fucking ordered. But that's pretty much the extent for me. Golden Coles cheered again. I said, I think the chat would be to the nines if you would hit the tips goal every day if you ate lunch on stream. Turn the camera on and do a mukbang. That's disgusting. No, I'm not doing that. Golden Coles cheered again. He said, I bought a bag of Doritos 3D. They're just like the snack Bugles with empty air in them. If you've ever had those, what's the best Frito-Lay bag snack? I don't think they're like Bugles. What it is basically it's like a puffed thing. It's completely full of air. And the reason that I feel Doritos 3D sucks is because they're so full of air, but they're very thin. They tend to break. Like, you buy a bag of Doritos 3D, half of them are broken already. And also, they just make a mess. When you try to eat one of those things, it completely breaks into a million little pieces, goes everywhere. It crumbs everywhere. I mean, I'd much rather eat a regular Dorito than a fucking Doritos 3D. I don't get the gimmick of a puffed tortilla chip. It's stupid. Oh my God, that's absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry, everybody. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, Rob is here today. What's up, Rob? Good to see you. He's tipped me $30 to get the day started. Thank you very much, Rob. I appreciate that. And by the way, he did that, I think, before I had even mentioned my situation where I need support with tips. So thank you very much, Rob, for that. I appreciate that very much. Rob says the following. Will IOI, meaning IO Interactive, this is the company that makes Hitman 3 currently, will they have their own, when they're going their own way with 007, I hope that they cast an up-and-coming voice actor for him, not go with some big-name guy. Super excited for Immortals tonight. Yes, I would say, I agree with you. Like, I think everyone's excited that they're going to make an original 007 Bond game. That's going to be an original thing. It's not going to be a movie tie-in. It's not going to be a classic Bond story. It's supposedly going to be an original Bond character made just for the game. They're even talking about if the game does well, they might make a trilogy of games. I'm excited for that. That sounds good to me. But I don't want it to be fucking Nolan North or Troy Baker. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right. If you're going to go with something original, you should go totally original. You should completely make it original and not, oh, we're going to just cast the same fucking people we've heard a million times. And not to say, listen, not to say that Troy Baker, Nolan North, you know what I'm saying? They're great voice actors. I absolutely enjoy what they do. They're top-notch talents. But I don't want to have the same people be every character in every game. Okay? So, hopefully, it'll be something original and fun. Okay? And by the way, some people are making a point here. They're like, are you aware there's going to be a Bond that's a black woman? I think I did read a story about that they actually are going to do that, and I'm okay with that. Even though Bond was always traditionally a man, it doesn't have to be. The character always changes. You might as well, you can change the gender, you can change anything about it, right? So, all right. Thank you, Rob, for the very generous tip to getting the tipping started today. That's a very good start. Thank you. Snow Carl has done a 50-bit cheer, and this was actually the first cheer during the stream. And he says, I noticed some very long-time regulars have stopped contributing like PW Dubs, whereas others become generous. Why do you think some become more and others less supportive? I have no idea. There's absolutely no way that I can gauge that. And here's why. All right, I'm going to be very honest with all of you. I don't know who a lot of the contributors are. All right, so I'll give you an example here, right? Rob just tipped. So I know that's Rob, right? That was Rob that tipped me. But if you tip in a different name, I don't know who that is. You know what I mean? I don't know who's tipping or who's contributing. I don't know if a patron pledge. I don't know if you buy a shirt off my Teespring. I don't know who those people are, right? It's very, very likely that there's people who have contributed in the past and don't contribute at all anymore. But it's also likely that these people do contribute. They just contribute via other means, and I don't know it. There's no way to gauge that. And by the way, there's no reason to worry about that. As long as overall I'm making enough to run a business and make a living, I don't care. You know, listen, some people, maybe they really like a playthrough I'm doing. Oh my God, this is one of the best playthroughs I've ever seen Phil do. I want to support it. And they come support that stream, but then they don't support it anymore after that. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not someone who's going to question that, and I'm certainly not someone who basically is going to sit here and be critical of that. That's not my business. Okay, it's not my business what people do with their money. It's also not my business why someone would contribute and not contribute again. You know, I don't worry about that shit. Let's see here. Snow Carl cheered. Now, this is weird. He says, if Immortals gets high monetary contributions today, but there's trolls in chat whining about that they're bored with the game, will it still stay in rotation? Maybe trolls will try to sabotage the games to get support. Number one, Immortals is not any risk of being taken out of rotation at all. It's not. What we're doing today is we're testing the waters as a daytime stream to see how it does. That does not mean that I'm going to remove it from rotation. All right? And even though there's many factors that go into play of, you know, how much I'll play a game and the stream that I'll play a game, money is not the dictating factor. Neither is a certain group of people who are complaining and saying they're bored with it. All right? Listen, every fucking game I play, people come on the stream and say they're bored with it. Oh, Assassin's Creed is boring. Man, Yakuza 7 was so boring. Call of Duty again? That's boring. Dude, Phil is still playing old school Street Fighter? Boring. Dark Souls again? Phil played Dark Souls 400 times. Boring. You know what I mean? Like, they just say it for every game. So, when you get to that point where everyone, or I don't say everyone, so stop that. It's definitely not everyone. It's a very small group of annoying people. But when you get to the point where people are so annoying like that, you know, it just becomes white noise. And I think that people don't realize that is the more that they try to do it to troll me, the less effective it is. Because if everyone says everything's boring, then it doesn't matter who's complaining. I'll just do what I want. You know what I mean? So, no, that's not going to be some kind of a factor here. At all, unless there's a consensus. There's a difference between, okay, there's 5 people on the stream who are just whining constantly, but there's a good amount of people who are engaging, talking with me, and we're having a good time on the stream. Compare that with, okay, everyone is bored, no one's engaged, no one's talking with me, people are ignoring the stream, there's no contributions. It's a very different situation, you understand? Okay, Frankie Beans 80 has resubscribed for 2 months in a row. Thank you very much, Frankie Beans, for 2 months of support. Liza for Soul has done a 100-bit cheer to be the big top cheer right now. He says, good morning, Dad. I'm not your father, and I'm going to tell you to stop saying that immediately. It's not funny. You may think it is, but I think it's very disturbing, and I'm going to ask you to stop. He cheered again. He says, when you eat Cheerios, how many O's do you scoop up before you eat it? Well, I always count specifically. I have to have at the very least, there must be at least 4 to 5 Cheerios in the spoon. But that's usually for when there's not many left in the bowl. You know, a normal heaping scoop of Cheerios, you could have a dozen or more Cheerios in one scoop. And that's absolutely delicious. Now, I'm just making that up. I don't know why the hell you're asking me such a ridiculous question. But there you go. I gave you an actual matter-of-fact answer that's I just talking out of my butt. Snow Curl chooses, I have a great idea. Have you considered asking Kat to choose her favorite all-time DSP clips for the retrospective? She used to watch some of your stuff. Maybe a way to engage her. I mean, I could. That would be up to her, but I've never really thought about that. Guitar Player 1939 has tipped me $4.20. Thank you, Guitar Player. He says, I think you should make a law saying you can't charge $60 for a game after a year. Code Vein is $60 on Steam. They're still charging $60 for that thing? I wouldn't have paid $60 for that game a week after it came out. And they're charging $60 for it a year and a half later. Holy shit. Well, don't pay that much. That's preposterous. Angelo Bestia is here today, and cheers. In the future, can you make a viewer's choice event for PS2 games only? Those available on PS Store or ones that you may be already own. I want to see you play Devil May Cry 2 before I die. Maybe. See, here's the thing, Angelo Bestia. I had this idea earlier in the month, and I said maybe for the upcoming viewer's choice, we can have some qualifying criteria. And the qualifying criteria would be as follows. This is the retro viewer's choice, where you guys choose a game I've already played before the year of 2016. So we're talking a playthrough that's 5 or more years old. And the reason that I thought this would be neat, I was like, well, if we do this, this will give people an opportunity to pick playthroughs that maybe they particularly didn't think were so great the first time around when I did them. And also, you'll be able to see better visuals. All right, you'll be able to see all kinds of stuff that'll just be much better than the first time around. Better audio quality, interaction with the stream, right? And people already were coming up with good ideas. Oh, Metal Gear Solid again would be really good. Maybe Chrono Trigger again would be really good. I was like, oh, this is great. Then within one day of me talking about it, here come the negative people. Oh no, we just want open nominations. I don't think this is gonna work. Why would you play an old game again? You know, I try to do something different. Everyone says, Phil, stuff's too stale. Do something different. Okay, let's do this different. Oh, I hate that idea. No open-minded at all. Nothing open-minded. You know, oh my God. Anyway, that being said, I like your idea, actually. I do like your idea. So, I would consider it. What I'm considering is if we're going to do viewer's choice in the future, that we do qualifying criteria for it, rather than just it being open viewer's choice. Because I think what we really need is we need to narrow it down. Without it being narrowed down, there's just too much. And what ends up happening is 50 people nominate games, but every game gets nominated only twice. And therefore, it's very hard to figure out what game people want to see. Versus if we narrow down the selections, now you may see more common games get nominated. And it may be easier to narrow down what people want to see. Okay? So that's my take. You could disagree, and that's okay if you disagree. But I am more interested in future viewers' choice events doing more narrowed focus. Lies vs. Soul cheers an over-exaggerated sigh. Here we go again with taxes. Yes, I know. But the good news is, it's nowhere near as bad as it was. It's just I need to be getting paid. I need to get paid in the middle of February. Sorry, it's going to be a tough week or two where it's tight. But outside of that, everything's better, much better than it used to be. That's for sure. Lies vs. Soul did a 250-bit cheers. I'll still cheer you on, even though I prefer I just give you my tips. I don't know what you're talking about. This isn't even English. Then he did a 300-bit cheer. Says, I'm his love guru. I'm not even going to read the rest of that. I'm not even going to read the rest of that. It's bullshit. Okay, but thank you for the cheer. And by the way, he's up to 300 bits in cheering now, which is appreciated. Angelo Bestia just cheered and said, did you know someone has written a 5-chapter, 5,000-word fan fiction about you? Probably there's more than that. I would go as far to say I believe there's even more than that. So, I'm not shocked, no. Lies vs. Soul cheered. He says, can we watch the intro of Dynasty Warriors you did back in the day? Maybe get a pre-stream remix of that as well. We could watch it. It's very generalized racial comedy. I don't feel there's anything super offensive in that. I think I was trying to be funny. Now, I wouldn't do that kind of comedy today, but back then it was something different. That's the thing with these retrospective events. We get to see how stuff used to be before everything became so ridiculously PC, right? And then Lies for Soul cheered again and said, I'm your biggest fan. Well, thank you for all the cheers recently, Lies for Soul. You indeed are the biggest cheerer of the week, and I appreciate that. Locked in the Closet cheered. Said, you ever try voice acting for games? I think if you get burps under control, you could do it. No, the thing is, I'm actually trying to audition for every, like, drunken or gassy character in the game. That's what I'm going for. Eternal Napalm Cheery says, a group of people saw an opportunity to directly compete with hedge funds in the free and open market, and they ran circles around them. The blocking of trading is totally illegal, and the CEO of Robinhood should be shitting his pants. Alrighty then. Don't worry, I'm absolutely sure lawmakers and the SEC are going to get involved. Locked in the Closet cheered again. He says, you made it clear money is the dictating factor with Call of Duty and Phoenix. No, I did not. Because here's the truth. These games would have already been dead if that were the case. Call of Duty, the last couple Call of Duty streams, with the exception of one where we did hit the tip skull, they've been slow for contributions. And I've said as much. And I'm still playing it. Are you kidding me? Yakuza 7? You're out of your mind. Yakuza 7 did not get overwhelming support at all during the entirety of the playthrough. And that playthrough's over 80 hours long and still continuing. Last night I made $20 playing it. And I'm still playing it. So... wrong! That was a really stupid thing you just said. Cobra Kaiser has to be $20. Says, stay positive. Awesome. Thank you, Cobra Kaiser, very much for a $20 tip. That is much appreciated. And now we're up to $54 in tips, which means when we actually start with the stream, I'll be wearing the Gunner glasses already. This is great headway, and I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, shout-outs. Thank you to the top cheerers of the week. In 10th place, Nin Star Rune. In 9th place, Golden Colts. 8th place is Local Nomad. 7th place, Fantasy Star PG. 6th place, Ripley Atomic. 5th place, Angelo Bestia. 4th place, Savage 2-Day. 3rd place, Shirtless Mofo. 2nd place, Rob on Wheels. And in 1st place, Lice for Soul. I appreciate that very much, everyone. Also, thank you to those of you who... oh, God. Thank you to those of you, I misclicked, who've gifted subs to the channel this week. I appreciate that as well. As follows, thank you to Shell Ryukin, Big D's, 672, and Spawn Killer. Well, actually, Shell Ryukin, Big D's, and 672 each gifted a single sub to the channel. Spawn Killer gifted 2 subs. Thank you guys very much for the support. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. Jack Seabath cheers. He says, how come Ronald McDonald's not part of the advertising anymore? What happened to him? I miss Grimace. Honestly, I don't know. I'm sure the reasoning was probably he wasn't with the times anymore. He was very outdated or something. That would probably be their reasoning. Or my guess at their reasoning. But I don't specifically know exactly what happened. Eternal Napalm cheers. So the stream needs a zoom in no. Well, really, there was nothing to say no to. So. Okay. Let's see here. And then this guy locked in the closet insulted me outright. What a shock that he insults me first and says that it's all about money, which it's not. And then he insults me personally, my looks. You know, insulting someone's looks who doesn't care about their looks is pretty much the dumbest thing you could do. If I actually cared about my looks, I would probably be like self-grooming every day, putting on makeup, putting shit in my hair constantly. I don't care. I'm a normal guy like you. I'm not going to get fucking dressed up for the stream and wear a fucking suit. All right? You're being an idiot. So go fuck off. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so far for the support on the stream. I'm going to take a break to use the restroom. All right? When we come back, it's Immortals Phoenix Rising. And I appreciate your support. I just belched disgustingly. Lives for Soldiers did 100-bit cheers. I would never insult you, let alone your looks. You're handsome. Thanks a lot. I don't believe that. See, I'm the kind of person, I seriously don't believe that. But I'm happy my wife does. That's all I care about. My wife thinks I'm attractive. That's all I care about. Maybe she's crazy, but, hey, she loves me. I love her. That's all that matters. I don't care about how I think about my own self-image because I got someone who loves me, for the rest of my life, and I'm happy with that. So, all right. Let us now go on a break. I'll be back in a few minutes with Immortals Phoenix Rising. Again, thank you for the support early on. I appreciate that. I'll see you guys after the break for some gameplay. All right, guys. Thank you, and I will see you in a few minutes.